SEP and Solo 401k Roth employer contribution rules. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman, tax attorney, founder of IRA Financial. Welcome to another episode of AdBits. Today's podcast, we're going to be chatting about the new Roth rules for SEP IRA and Solo 401k employer contributions. So before I get into the new rules under the Secure Act 2.0, let's talk about what the old rules were prior to January 1, 2023. Those rules are quite simple. For a SEP IRA is a pure profit sharing plan. So if you're self-employed or have a sole proprietorship, it's 20% of your net Schedule C up to a combined maximum of $66,000 for 23 or $61,000 for 22. Whereas if you are in a Solo K, it would be a 20% if you're a sole proprietor and single member LLC, up to 61K or 67,500 if you're over 50. There's no catch up in a SEP. And for 23, it's 66,000 or 73,500 if you are over 50. Now, in both the SEP and the SEP and the Solo K instances, employer contributions, which is that 20% sole proprietor single member LLC, 25% W-2. In both those cases, prior to 23, they had to be pre-tax, meaning the company obviously make the contribution on behalf of the employer. Those are eligible to be made up until the business files its return, including extension. And the company gets a tax deduction since it's money that goes into the employee's account in the 401k or SEP. And then the employee has those funds. And so long as they pull it out once they're over 59.5, they pay tax when they pull those funds out. However, Secure Act 2.0, which was passed by President Biden, signed into law end of December 2022, added some really cool features. And I've done a number of videos, podcasts, and blogs about it. So I'm not going to go through every feature of Secure Act 2.0. There's about 400 pages, 90 plus provisions. But I want to focus obviously on the Roth portion. So what Secure Act 2 did in one particular provision is it now allows a SEP IRA to do the employer contribution, the 20% or the 25% if it's a W-2, a C Corp, S Corp partnership, up to $66,023 to be in Roth. Prior to 23, it had to be pre-tax. Okay, same goes for the Solo K. The employer contribution, which was the 20% of the net Schedule C for the sole proprietor or single member LLC, or 25% for the C Corp, S Corp partnership W-2 / guaranteed payment, up to a combined maximum with the employee deferral of 66 or 73.5 if they're over 50. Now, starting in 23, the employer contribution can now be in Roth, whereas prior to 23, it had to be pre-tax. Now, a couple of wrinkles here. Is the contribution tax deductible to the employer, right? It's now Roth, not pre-tax. Is it still tax deductible? The idea is yes, it still should be tax deductible. Why? It's still a payment from the employer to the employee's account. It's going to be a fully vested contribution. So it should be tax deductible. Just like if you do a business trip, and it shouldn't matter whether the contribution was pre-tax or Roth, they still should be deductible to the business that makes the contribution. But for the employee that receives the money, obviously getting the Roth is pretty advantageous, right? Because once they're over 59.5 and the Roth's been open at least 5 years, it's all tax-free. Whereas if they had a pre-tax contribution from the business, it would be subject to income tax after the age of 59.5. So obviously from an employee standpoint, they would love for the employer to do Roth type employer contributions. Now, based off the rules, we're still waiting for IRS guidance. So if you look at the language in the Secure Act 2.0, it kicks in January 1, 2023, but we are still looking for guidance. So actually, from a practical standpoint, a lot of companies now are saying, we're not doing Roth because we don't have any guidance. We're going to do pre-tax and then you can convert it to Roth, which kind of sucks because you're paying tax on something you may not otherwise have to if you just kind of waited a little bit. Hopefully we'll get some guidance soon from the IRS to determine exactly how it's going to work. Number two, there's no requirement that the employer actually offers the Roth. Okay, it just seems to be an option, and there doesn't seem to be a requirement that the employer actually offer the Roth contribution to the SEP or the Solo K from the employer standpoint. On the employee deferral from the Solo K standpoint, most plans offer the pre-tax and the Roth. Obviously, a SEP IRA is just a pure profit sharing plan, so there's no employee deferral. So overall, 2023, new rules kick in thanks to Secure Act 2.0. Employer contributions, just 20% of the net Schedule C for sole proprietors, single member LLCs can now be in Roth, 25% for W-2 C or S Corp, or guaranteed payments from a partnership can now be a pre-tax or Roth. It's an option. The employer does not have to offer the Roth option. We're also waiting on guidance in terms of how that's going to work. But it seems, based off the industry tax professional chatter, that the contribution in Roth from the employer to the employee will be tax deductible, even though it's Roth, which ultimately will be a big, big win for the employee because they're going to be getting free money in Roth versus in the past, it's been free money in pre-tax. So obviously more to come. This is a big, big win. Things are going to develop, or there'll be some tax planning strategies to do these SEP IRA contributions in Roth. So company will still get a deduction and the employee will get tax-free money potentially, so long as they're over the age of 59 and a half. So there you go. I talked about it, kind of danced around this topic. There was uncertainty when this provision and when the Secure Act 2.0 was passed, when people looked at this provision, whether it would be tax deductible, the contribution to the company that's making it on behalf of the employee in the profit sharing sense. But it seems, again, that it will be, since it is money that's leaving the company's account going to the employee, whether it's pre-tax or Roth, it still should be tax deductible. So hopefully we'll get some more guidance shortly from the IRS in terms of, how this is going to work, what requirements businesses have to do to offer the Roth component on the employer side. But I have clients that are doing it. They have a SEP and a Solo. There is a workaround with the Solo, right? You can always just do a mega backdoor Roth 401k. So let's say you just want to max out the 66K or 73.5 if you're over 50, all in Roth. You can do it without having to do employee deferrals and profit sharing of 20 or 25%. You can just go dollar for dollar all in Roth based off the mega backdoor. So it's not so crucial, especially if you have a Solo K through IRA Financial, which has a mega backdoor option. You always have Roth options. You don't have to do the SEP, the Solo employer in Roth, because you can just do the mega backdoor dollar for dollar to Roth. For SEP clients, that's not the case because there's no mega backdoor Roth in the SEP. So the way to do it, the employer contribution was always pre-tax. So essentially now that it could be in Roth, some people are just going ahead and doing it, saying, I'm just going to do Roth. It's in Secure Act 2.0. I don't have to offer the option, but I will. I want to do it for myself. And that's cool. And others are just kind of hanging out saying, I'll do it down the road. I'm just waiting on some guidance in terms of how it's going to work and how it's going to be reported. So there you go. That is today's AdBits podcast. Employer contributions now in Roth, starting in 2023 for SEPs and Solos. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate all support. It's a weekly podcast that drops every Tuesday, so definitely check it out. You can always just go to our amazing YouTube channel, IRA Financial, subscribe, and you'll get notifications when new videos and new podcasts gets dropped. Generally, I do 3 new videos on a YouTube Live every Wednesday at noon Eastern, and 3 podcasts are on this channel. So you can always just listen to them wherever you pick up your podcast, or you can watch them on YouTube. Other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day, and I hope to see everyone again next week. Take care.